Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to Manchester City preview with Trevor Sinclair. Trev, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Just having a little chat with you off air. Just got back from running my dogs, which is pretty much a 5 or 6 day event, and it just settles my equilibrium, sorts my brain out, and keeps me fit, keeps me in my clothes that I've got, and so I feel good. I've got the adrenaline going and the endorphins in my system, so let's fire away.
Good man. Don't worry. The questions aren't that testing. I won't be keeping you on your toes. Don't worry. These are simple enough. But let's start with Manchester City then. And give me a summary of how you think their season's gone, will you, please?
I think compared to the start of the season when they missed out on Harry Kane, I thought they would struggle. I thought Chelsea were probably in the box seat. Liverpool have bounced back unbelievably well after getting their injuries back. But Manchester City's just ability to grind out results week in, week out in the league. It shouldn't really surprise me, but it does. You know, not having a centre forward. I knew Jack Grealish would probably take a little time to get used to Pep's ways. But in general, just players have just superseded what I expected. Again, the consistency has been great. The rotations worked well for Pep. And I just feel that the team are a team where the intensity in training is probably no different to the intensity what we see in games, but they're working under a great manager, and what we see on the match day is absolutely superb. So, yeah, I think they've done really well to win the league. Disappointing that they didn't, or disappointed for them, because I thought for 179 minutes against Real Madrid, they were by far the better team. So that was quite a difficult pill to swallow for the players, I'm sure, and the coaching staff and the fans alike. But in general, it's been a pleasure to watch him again. As a fan, as an ex-player, it's great to be associated with the club. I do some work for City TV, and it's just a lot of positives going on at the football club, not just in the first team, but down below, and what they're doing in the transfer market. So I think they've done really well this year.
From a neutral standpoint, obviously Pep's one of the best managers we've ever seen in Premier League in that, but it feels like until he wins the Champions League with Manchester City, it won't quite be job done. Is that reflected among the Manchester City fans, or is the Champions League, while you'd like to win it, not necessarily the deciding factor?
It's a bit of Marmite, to be honest, because obviously UEFA have had problems with Manchester City and the way that they've been doing their business for quite a while. So I think there's a bit of resentment from the fans that it's almost like there's a witch hunt for Manchester City to try and get them dock points or fine them, or find something wrong with their business model, because the fact that Sheikh Mansour's come in, the club's been run superbly well. It's almost put some of the status quo teams who have been giants of football for a long time in the shade, and it seems like Manchester City doing everything better. In which case, for me, it seems like UEFA want to punish Manchester City and must find a reason for them being able to be so successful, especially in the Premier League, and with their the business and the sponsors and all the rest of it. So it's almost like they're trying to pick a hole in the business model, whereas some fans do agree with that, and some fans feel, and there's a little bit of both for me. I'm in both camps, where I feel not just as a fan, but I think for Pep and for his kind of how he should be held in such high regards, the way that he's changed, the way that Manchester City play, and the success that he's brought to the football club. Obviously, this will be 4 years out of 5 that if they get over the line and win the Premier League, it's an unbelievable dominance in the Premier League and in the cup competition. So I think as a fan, as somebody that looks upon the club and wants them to do well, I think it's probably the missing part of the jigsaw for Pep, the Champions League, and it's got to be next year now.
Whenever we do these opposition previews, I'll always ask the other person about sort of their players, if there's anyone in form, if there's anyone that's impressed in the season. It seems a bit of a weird question to ask a Man City fan, because you could just rattle off your team. But is there any one or two players that have stood out more than you expected them to, perhaps, this season?
I think Bernardo Silva, obviously, he is a fan's favourite. I think I like him because he's 5'7". He's probably about 10 stone wet through, and he has no right really to have the impact on a game that he has. But he's tenacious. He's got a bit of attitude. He scores the odd goal, and he just plays like football should be played, free, without pressure, and with great personality. So for me, he's probably someone that I really look at and think, he ceases to amaze me how he continues to do it year on year out. Because you look at his physical presence and he's not really got any. He anticipates bad touches. He anticipates passing lanes. He'll nick the ball off someone's foot. He won't really go into challenges because he's not built for that. But what he has done is he's adapted his game to the size of him, and yeah, year on year out, he just surpasses every expectation I have of him, and plays a superb style and brand of football, which is full of effort against giants. Really, you look at some of the lads that he's playing against, 14 stone, absolute thoroughbred athletes, and he shouldn't really be able to compete. But he's fit as a flea. I think he's run 15k in a game before, so he's obviously got an unbelievable engine. But yeah, it's probably someone that I look at and I'm just like amazed how well he does week in, week out.
Right, two players I want to ask you about. First one, he's never played a game for you yet, but he will next season. Erling Haaland. I mean, you've got to be buzzing with that, haven't you?
I am, yeah. I mean, I think it's a great coup for the club because I think there was a lot of interest, obviously. What he's done over in Borussia Dortmund, the records he's broke, not only for domestic football over in the Eredivisie, but also in the Champions League. He's the youngest player to reach 20 goals in the Champions League. You look at his array of goals. He's got an unbelievable left foot. He can strike it with his right. First time little dribbles, sliding passes. He seems to score a lot of different style of goals. Maybe not so many with his head, but I'm sure he can improve on that. He'll probably need to. But obviously, he's got a history at the club with Alfie, his dad, famously playing for the football club when we weren't as good as we are now. I just like the physical presence that he's got because it's something that Manchester City have probably missed since Edin Dzeko left. And yeah, I was a favorite. He was a favorite of mine. The way that he played and the aerial dominance that he had, I thought he'd give Manchester City a plan B, where we've not really had that over the last few years, even when Aguero was in there. So I think it'll be a big positive for the lads, big positive for the club being able to sign such a young, potentially great player, which a lot of other clubs were interested. So yeah, very exciting for the fans.
So while he's not yet featured in Man City shirt, featuring for the last time in a West Ham shirt at a home game though is Mark Noble. It's going to be a bit different next season, isn't it? Seeing the West Ham team and Mark Noble not being there. I'm not used to it. I'm not ready for it, Trev. I'm not going to lie. When I go on Sunday, I'm taking a packet of tissues with me.
Yeah.
It's a sad day, but a happy day at the same time.
Yeah, what a servant, eh? I remember him coming to train with us when I was at the football club. Chad Relief, beautiful surroundings. And he was just an enthusiastic, humble, hard-working boy. Obviously, you could see he was very young. But as soon as he got the ball out, as soon as he started playing football, you realise he weren't being given any favours brought into the squad and being able to train with the first team. He had great ability, great composure, great technical ability. I was quite blessed, when I was at West Ham, because we had players like Rio, Frank, Joe Cole, Michael Carrick, Jermaine Defoe. The list goes on of young players that came through the academy and come and started training with us. And he was no different. You could see that he had that kind of confidence, but, he respected the situation, he respected the players that he was coming in to train with. But he wouldn't let that kind of force him into a state of a rabbit in headlights. He would, just showcase his stuff without being flashy. And seeing him go on to earn the career and play so well and have so many memories for West Ham over 18 years. I'm really proud of him, and he's a nice kid. I've come into contact with him from time to time, and he conducts himself superbly well. I think he's West Ham through and through. I think the fans can really affiliate with him. And at times he's not been the yes boy for the owners. When it's needed, I think he's come out and he's been strong for the fans. And then on other times, he's gone against the fans when you've got silly fans running on the pitch. As much as we all want to demonstrate, it's not the way to do it. And he's clipped them around the ear and got them off the pitch as well. So I think all in all, he's been an absolutely amazing ambassador for the club. And I sent him a message today, actually, just saying, well done, congratulations on a brilliant career. I've briefly been in and around him and his family, and he deserves everything he gets. I hope he stays at the club, because I think it'll be a real loss if they just allow him to either leave the club. One of the questions I asked him, actually, is he going to continue to play? Because obviously when he's been used, a bit of a cameo role this season, but he has played. He's not looked out of place, and
No.
I actually think it's too young for him to retire from playing football. So if he's going to retire, I think that I would massively try and convince him not to. But if he's not going to retire, then I hope the football club retain his services and bring him into the coaching staff, or even upstairs within the board, and try and bring him back in to learn a different craft amongst the football club, and continue the tradition that West Ham's richly engraved in his entity.
Love that. Thank you very much. West Ham season then, what do you make of that? I mean, last 16 FA Cup, quarter-final League Cup, semi-final Europa League, currently 7th. We've all but secured some form of European football next season. What do you make of Moyes and his boys?
David, he lives quite close to me in Lytham. So I've been in kind of his company a few times over the last couple of years, played golf and down the taps with landlord Steve. The club's been run brilliantly since he returned. I got a little bit of stick on Twitter a while back before he came back in for saying he shouldn't have got sacked in the first place, and we should have retained him then. They've gone for the foreign mystique of Pellegrini, which has not worked out. And I was pleased when he got the job back. He had it all to do again, especially with some of the fans and the style of football. But I don't think there's a fan out there now that doesn't believe him, what he's trying to achieve at the club, but how he's trying to do it. The honest way, hard work, great team spirit, brilliant basics, and then you throw in a little bit of stardust in there, and it's been a fantastic couple of years for recruitment as well. And you look at certain players who've improved under David and his coaching staff. You must give kudos to the whole group. It's a team effort, and that's all that David Moyes always says. When people are trying to give him credit for doing this and doing that, he always spreads that love and says, listen, it's a team effort, it's a coaching. Everyone at the club even, unfortunately, goes upstairs and says the board have backed him at times, which we would like them to have done more. But it's been great to see West Ham fans with a smile on their face. The London Stadium seems a lot more like home now. And they've got some great memories at the stadium, and hopefully there's going to be a lot more with David Moyes at the helm.
Players impressed you this season for West Ham?
Obviously, Declan. I've seen a few bits and bobs from Hammer of the Year event, which I always get a little bit jealous because I think I come runner-up once to Sebastian Chamel. Love him, and I'm glad he won it. But yeah, I always get a little bit of envy from the last day at Upton Park when all the Hammers of the Year previously went onto the pitch, and I was like sat in the stand, like absolutely fuming.
Always a bridesmaid.
yeah. But I was really pleased. I was pleased for Declan. I thought, obviously, Jared's done superb. He actually reminds me a lot of the way I played, kind of high intensity. He does work in and out of possession, gets goals, and I've been really pleased with the way he develops. Obviously, he had a bit of a hiccup to do with social media a year or so ago, and I just thought the way he's conducted himself and handled that and bounced back from that shows a great resilience, great personality. I just think he's been brilliant. And he, the fact that he got the injury to his Achilles stroke ankle when he did, I think he was lined up to be in the England squad, which I don't think is far away. And I wish him luck in that. Fully deserves. You look at his numbers, assists and goals, he's been outstanding, and the improvement since he joined the club has been massive. And I'm really pleased for him. And keep your head down, keep working hard, and he's got a big future ahead.
Right, enough about what's already happened. Enough about summaries. Get your mystic ball out. I want your crystal ball out now, Trev. How do you see Sunday going?
I think it's going to be. I think it'd be a great showcase because obviously the stadium's going to be full. We've not got a good record against Manchester City whatsoever, apart from the cup game when they won on penalties. But in the league, it's been disastrous, and it's difficult to see past a Manchester City win, just the way that they've blown the last couple of teams away, Newcastle, and then obviously the other night against Wolves. They've only got one thing to play for now, so that all eyes and all focus and all concentration will be on the London Stadium for them. So I think it's difficult. But West Ham have shown up this year, and they've shown up in big games. And, it wouldn't be a shock if West Ham got something out of the game. But the way that I see it, just the desperate... If West Ham were going for top 6 and they didn't have to rely on Manchester United losing games to get there and everything was in this game, then part of me says, yeah, they'll throw it all. They'll throw the kitchen sink at this. But Manchester United might slip up, they might not. There's still a points gap between 7th and 6th. And I just think they'll be more desperate to get these points than us. And even though every time you go onto the pitch and cross that white line, you say, right, 100% blah, 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 blah. When you're going for the title and when you're possibly going for 7th or 6th, it's a different intensity and it's a different will to win. And I just think that will to win, plus, obviously proving the best team in the country over the last 4 or 5 years, yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult one for West Ham to get anything out of.
Score prediction. No one gets to come on here and gets off without a score prediction.
I think they'll concede. I think Manchester City will concede, but I don't think there will be a scoreline like we've seen in Manchester City's last couple of performances. So I'm probably going to go 2-1, 1-2, 2-1 to City. But decent performance from West Ham. But yeah, just it's difficult to not think about the game. The second leg and feel what could have been, because we didn't really trouble them as much as we could have done with 11 men on the pitch. And I feel it's a missed opportunity because it was there. I don't think they're world beaters. And I think with 11 men on the pitch and a little bit of inspiration, yeah, that could have been a really, really big night for the right reasons. And unfortunately it wasn't. But we dust ourselves down, go again. And, looking at the start of this season, not massive amounts of players that were brought in. And the injury problems that they've had, I think you'd have to give them an 8 or 9 out of 10 for the season's performance once again. So carry on, David, and the boys. Big year, big summer, should I say, for recruitment, both possibly in and out. So really interested to see what goes on in the summer. Hopefully Declan can stay. Mark Noble can go upstairs and, we can keep that DNA of West Ham United Football Club going through the club.
Last question for a little bit of fun. Obviously, if we lose against Man City on Sunday, we go to the final game of the season away to Brighton. And if we win, and Crystal Palace at home to Man United, if Palace beat Man United, West Ham then gets 6. So my final question, will West Ham get 6? Will we nick it from Man United on the last day?
You know what? I've actually looked at that equation and looked at that scenario. And Palace have been good under Patrick Vieira. So I can see Palace doing something. I think it might be Conor Gallagher's final game for the club. I'm not sure he's going to be allowed to continue next season for Palace. So he'll want to go off. He's got goals in him and performances. But I think Patrick's done really well changing the style of play. They might not be in a massively different position than they were under Roy, but I think if you ask any Palace fan, they'll be really pleased with that. And you don't know what you're going to get with Brighton, do you?
No.
But, I'd like to think, nice little trip down to the seaside for the Hammers fans. 3 points. Manchester United come unstuck against Palace. Top 6, Europa League. Here we come. That would be beautiful.
It would be beautiful. Thank you very much, Trevor. Pleasure having you on.
Mate. My pleasure.
If you've enjoyed this chat with Trevor, please do drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Catch you in a bit.